How's it going, everyone? VenomousStare here, back with more Zerg versus Terran, the best matchup in StarCraft 2. In the top left of the Korean server, Little Nicky, King Sejong Station, aka Root Vibe, and in the bottom right we have a Barcode player. So unfortunately, a Barcode basically is just a player who wants to remain anonymous on the ladder, so they make their ID a bunch of I's and L's, and they blend in with the crowd. But this Little Nicky guy is a player by the name of Root Vibe, a Colorado guy with lots of charisma and solid macro play, a player who doesn't necessarily favor one style to the other, more of just a all the way across the board solid macro player. And this is a game on the Korean server, so presumably this is a Korean Terran, the Barcode. And the map is King Sejong Station. This map was actually played in Heart of the Swarm, which was StarCraft 2's second expansion, so I think that's years 2012 through 2014 or something. So kind of in the middle of the game's life this map was played. And then in Legacy of the Void, Blizzard released a really atrocious map pool. People were upset, so they just said, well, we'll get rid of two of the awful maps and we'll put in King Sejong and Frost too, both of which were played in Legacy of the Void and generally regarded as solid macro maps. Speaking of solid macro, we have a Reaper expand from the Terran player. This is as standard gets. Speaking of standard, Hatch first from Vibe and a presumable Zergling speed with first 100 gas and double Overlord once this finishes coming from Vibe. And the reason that you want to wait on these queens is did I say double Overlord? I meant double queen. The reason that you want to wait on these overlords, on these queens, is whenever they finish at the same time, you can inject at the same time, and that's very valuable. Marine opener from the Terran player. He'll also build a reactor and a factory, so presumably Blue Flame Hellions coming here. Reaper out now. Vibe at this point has a handful of drones. He'll try not to lose any. Queen comes out. We'll run the Reaper away. Honestly, I kind of miss the days of CC, Expand, and Command Center first. I'm not really a fan of making or defending against the Reaper. To me, it's just kind of an annoying unit. Gas being made for the Barcode Terran player. Vibe, of course, setting his first Overlord up on this high ground. It's very important when you play Zerg to find the high grounds on map to set Overlords on top of. This way you can see what's going on, but your opponent can't see you because it's a high ground. Hellions on the way for the Terran player, and a third from Vibe coming up. This is a bit of a peculiar spot. He's electing to take the third base on the backside. Now this third is actually a bit more closed off than the one over here. If you take the one over here, you kind of have to contend with people dropping back here and then flying into your man. With this, you have to contend with the high ground and the fact that the rush distance is a bit shorter, especially once they take their fourth. So that's something to note. Cyclone opener from the Terran, and Vibe sees it. He's scouting this research, and really this only is indicative of two different things, because no one does like Thor rushes. It's either the Cyclone build, and Vibe should see this. The Cyclone here will be the biggest tell. He sees it. So if this is Blue Flame Hellion, he would have seen a Hellion pop out of this factory that's researching. This is quintessential to know, because if your opponent's doing a Cyclone build, Lings are somewhat important for defending. But if your opponent's just going for a Blue Flame Hellion rush with 3 Blue Flame Hellions at a time, then building Lings is terrible. So Hellions are attacking the third base of Vibe, and this factory is floating. It gives the Terran player vision, but it also lets Vibe know that this is committed mech. Now Vibe has a gaggle of queens as well as some speedlings. He's getting an Evo Chamber and a Roach Warren despite already having one. Maybe he's going to double upgrade speed and burrow at the same time. That's an extremely rare thing that we sometimes see. 12 drones on the way for Vibe as he's going to defend this third with ease. All he really needed was to kill the rocks. 5 Hellions are out for the Terran player. Blue Flame just started as the Cyclone upgrade finished. But at this point, Vibe has queens and lings. He can defend this. And the lings are going to come forward and threaten us around. Vibe picks off a Hellion. And some more mechas on the way, as well as this Blue Flame. This Blue Flame is very important. Once this finishes, lings will be very bad. As we see the Queen Ling defense here, this factory is doing a great job scouting for the Terran, ensuring he never becomes overwhelmed. He's going to kite back here. Vibe at this point loses a lot of his army, and he does. So the second Roach Warren was not an accident. He's actually going for that very rare double upgraded build I was talking about. Basically, the way this build works is you get Burrow, you get Roach Speed, and Roach Burrow Movement Speed all at the same time, called Centrifugal Hooks. Or no, that's the Baneling upgrade. Excuse me. But you get this Roach Speed upgrade. Basically, it makes these roaches have little spines on their back, and then they can move while they're burrowed, and they also gain an absurd amount of health. As Vibe's third is probably going to be busted here, and it is. He was building another queen, thankfully, and that wasn't Burrow. Burrow is still about to finish. And Vibe can start upgrades whenever he wants. He's trying to defend off this Hellion Cyclone. He's pushing forward with queens. Transfuses nicely, but here come the roaches. Roach Speed's about to finish. Roach Movement's about to finish. Vibe also takes this third intelligently. And if we look at the vision of the Barcode Terran, he's very, very focused on breaking this base. He doesn't really know about this third over here. But he's going to start to move over there with the power of deduction. Vibe at this point has burrow speed, so he has burrowed roaches. This is very dangerous. The most powerful point of a burrowed roach army is the moment whenever your burrow finishes, as well as your burrowed roach, and you catch your opponent off guard, because really your opponent will be caught brutally off guard for the first time no matter what. No one really expects this big burrowed roach play. So here Vibe can spring up and get some units if he wants. And he's thinking about it. He does. Gets 2 Cyclones right out the gate, as well as a third and a fourth, and to re-burrow. So at this point the Barcode Terran is in a peculiar situation. He knows that his opponent is going burrowed roaches, but if we go to structures, he's going full-blown mech, no eBay, so he can't build turrets. That means he has to rely on scans to see units. Now he scans here, but the burrowed roach regen is very high, so he doesn't exactly kill anything. And Vibe can simply unburrow and catch his Blue Flame Hellion Cyclone army off guard. And if we go to units, the Terran supply has plummeted. He only has a handful of Cyclones. He's not really built any tanks or Thors. And Vibe has effectively figured out how to deal with this composition that is very resistant to being surrounded. He's basically used Burrow to surprise his opponent and constantly ensure a surrounding. Neither player has upgrades to speak of as far as +1 goes. Notice Vibe isn't even bothering with Ravagers. He's going lots of burrowed roaches. Ravagers aren't really necessary whenever you're facing Cyclone Hellion. Ravagers are better against things that are required to stay static to defend, like tanks and libs. Whereas the weakness of Cyclone and Hellions is the ability to be surrounded and caught off guard. Vibe's going to kill lots of SCVs here, and he's going to go in as he's teching the Hive and Spire. And Vibe's going to re-burrow, split his army up. 2 scans going down for the Barcode. He wants to kill this badly. Kills a little. There's a third scan, and Vibe saves many roaches. Goes in with roaches to the natural. So this is what happened. Notice how late this eBay is. This eBay just finished, so no turrets were able to be constructed. At this point, Vibe is going to split his army up everywhere. He loses all the roaches there. He's going to burrow again and run away. But there is just pandemonium going on. 4 roaches in the main, 4 roaches in the natural. Upgrades not started. And at this point, without the ability, or he has the ability to make turrets, but it came far too late. Vibe can continue to run away. If we go to the CCs here, none of them have the energy to scan, and one of them is lifted. So Vibe can just burrow with impunity here. He can sit here at the bottom if he wants and just be an obnoxious little twat, burrow. Okay, sure. Yeah, bring your units there. Okay, there's the first missile turret, and the second one is completed in the natural. So the natural is somewhat safe. Another scan going down. Remember, every one of these scans is a mule neglected. Greater Spire on the way for Vibe. Hive Tech is up already. And Vibe has this base, as well as a 5th in the middle, and that backup base he took. He's running in the base of the Barcode Terran, and the Barcode Terran just doesn't have anything to deal with this. Cyclones are good in conjunction with Hellions when they can kite around, but when they're forced to engage kind of at gunpoint, they're not very good. The Korean player, definitely Korean, GG's, and in Korean they'll type WW for well won, which is like GG, and this symbol which means like GG, so subscribe for more.